In just a few hours from now, day 2 of Democratic National Convention will start in Chicago, and Tuesday's theme is For the People, for Our Future. Although the official schedule is yet to be released, a number of prominent Democrats are expected to speak on day 2, with former President Barack Obama set to deliver the keynote address. Reports suggest former First Lady Michelle Obama might also take the stage. Liberal Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is also expected to speak. Obama's DNC address will come full circle for the former U.S. president as he returns to the convention dais after 20 days to back Harris's presidential bid after Biden stepped aside in July. In July 2004, then Illinois Senator Barack Obama delivered a keynote address at the convention in Boston as the Blue Comes candidate. Months later, he went on to become America's first black president. Now, the Obamas backing for Harris comes at a critical juncture as Democrat supporters look to make history again, with the country getting its first woman president. The second day of the convention scheduled to begin momentarily, police, including the U.S. Secret Service, have set up an extensive security perimeter around the convention area, and access is controlled via credentials only. All right, let's talk more about this. Our VOA correspondent, Kane Ferenbaugh, is now joining us live from Chicago. Ferenbaugh, good to see you. It is widely anticipated that Barack Obama will speak at the second day of the convention. Any surprises so far in Chicago? And apart from Obama, who else is scheduled to speak on day 2?
So it is former President Barack Obama, and this is an interesting moment because 20 years ago, President Obama, then candidate Obama, was at the time a rising politician here in Chicago. He was a state senator in this state, and he was running for the U.S. Senate. And this was the moment in which President Barack Obama himself, then as a candidate, was elevated to national prominence by giving a speech at the Democratic National Convention in 2004, and it is the place where he launched his career into the presidency. And so this is an opportunity for him to speak about his own legacy, to speak about his own background, to speak about his own moment. And it's also a way to bridge his moment to Kamala Harris's moment here at this convention. And so the themes of today's talk are going to sort of be connecting Barack Obama to Kamala Harris. And I think that people here are certainly enthusiastic. You know, the thousands of delegates that have descended here on Chicago are all animated by what's happening. And I think everybody's sort of eager to hear how this is all going to be a bridgeable moment.
Kane, have you managed to speak to some of them, or the delegates, or even members who are attending this convention? What are they saying is different about it? Are they satisfied? Are they enthusiastic about the expected outcome of the convention?
We have been able to speak to these delegates that are here. I think that there's a general sense of enthusiasm for the dramatic change in the makeup of the ticket. Obviously, since President Biden has announced that he is stepping down from this race and he's endorsed Kamala Harris, his vice president, to be the Democratic nominee, there's a renewed sense of optimism and a renewed sense of purpose and an energization of these delegates and their supporters. One thing that's important here to remember is that Kamala Harris has been surging in the polling that's been taken since she effectively became the Democratic nominee. And this is an opportunity for her and for the surrogates that represent her and for all of these people here to sort of gather the momentum heading into the November election. And so while it looks like Kamala Harris is leading former President Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, in several key battleground states in the polling, the races are tight in critical areas in which there needs to be support for for Kamala Harris anyway, to remain competitive and stay competitive with former President Donald Trump in those states. And so remember, too, that these candidates are hoping that this entire moment this week gives them momentum heading out of the convention back onto the campaign trail around the United States. An important aspect of all of this, though, is that early voting or absentee balloting actually begins in certain states. I believe Pennsylvania is one of them, in the middle of September. So while we're all looking to a November timeframe for casting a ballot actually on Election Day, many Americans will begin voting earlier than that. And so what happens here in this convention could easily translate into support and into a vote in a matter of weeks, not months.
All right. Day 2 is just about to kickstart. I've been talking to VOA correspondent Kane Ferranbao. Kane, thank you.
Thank you.
The Democratic National Convention kicked off on an emotional note. The room was teary-eyed as President Joe Biden took the stage. He reflected on his legacy while rallying for the future of America. Here's a report.
A night to remember. Tears, hugs, and chants of "We Love Joe." A visibly moved Biden addresses the convention, his voice tinged with emotion.
I love you. And with a grateful heart, I stand before you now on this August night to report that democracy has prevailed. Democracy has delivered. And now democracy must be preserved.
In July, Biden made the difficult decision to withdraw from the 2024 presidential race, clearing the path for Harris to lead the Democratic ticket.
When we put a prosecutor in the Oval Office instead of a convicted felon.
Biden's every word evoked more cheers as he passionately endorsed Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Let me ask you, are you ready to vote for freedom? Are you ready to vote for democracy and for America? Let me ask you, are you ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, President and Vice President of the United States?
Harris, whose campaign has gained tremendous momentum, made a surprise appearance, expressing her gratitude for his leadership.
Good evening. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you.
While praising Harris, Biden lashed out at Donald Trump.
Joey, family's the beginning. He says we're losing. He's the loser. He's dead wrong.
Our rights. We will fight to unite. We will fight. No.
Biden also briefly addressed the concerns of the pro-Palestinian protesters gathered outside the convention hall, acknowledging their anger and reiterating his commitment to working tirelessly for a ceasefire in Gaza.
For Joe Biden, this must have been a personally difficult moment. He spent more than 5 decades in elected office, serving in the Senate, elected first when he was even too young to serve at 29, for decades, and now having been vice president and then president for one term.
The Democratic Party is now looking to the convention to propel Harris towards a decisive showdown with Trump, whom they view as a significant threat to the future of the nation. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.